Okay, Venus. Our self-worth, our sense of love and appreciation, a sense of being beautiful, a sense of culture, of charm, of wanting to receive things and wanting to be loved, wanting to be appreciated. This is Venus. What's Neptune going to do? It's going to confuse and distort and idealize your sense of appreciation and your sense of evaluation. So you could see the dramatic, romantic guy, and you met them in a club. He was playing in the blues bar, and he's on the stage. He's so romantic. Oh, it's so advanced. I got to know this person. And you can continually attract confusing or guilt-ridden or unreliable situations. Escapes and believe that they're so true, and then you can get so many sorrows from that. So Venus and Neptune, it's the classic alcoholic aspect. I'm not getting appreciated the way I want. I have to find some other way. I have to escape this. I can't. I love you. I hate you. I got to get away from this. I got to get something else. There's some evasiveness, but yet at the same time, it would be there. It could possibly be there in a great singer's voice. It could be there in someone who made a great painting, was a great painter, and could see things in a whole nother way. You know, like something's not as it seems about the way they see. So it can be a good quality, but in regular practice school, growing up and in the neighborhood, it's not. It's poor choices. Venus is the choices that you make. Neptune is the dreams. Oh, this would be a great dream. Oh, I want to go for that dream. Oh, I like this. This looks so romantic. Romance and adventure is Neptune. So the Venus is looking for romance and adventure. And usually the romance and adventure, it projects that sense of this could be great, this could be this, on people that aren't going to live up to it. They're beautiful, they have some good quality, some special quality, but they're not financially anchored. So there's confusion about finances, a communication about rewards, communication about satisfaction, even a confusion about being satisfied sexually. I like this. Oh, like if someone's making love and they don't get satisfied, the other person makes love and they fall asleep and you're left feeling not satisfied. Neptune will blame myself. I must be doing something wrong. How could I do this? What's wrong with me? So Neptune creates really confused. It takes simple pleasure and contentment of Venus and tempts it and twists it and tempts it and distorts it. Where you're looking for security, you're looking for appreciation in places, oh, they like me, they don't know me there. But there's often a one-sidedness, or it could be a multiple, it could be 2 or 3 people liking you, and how do you choose who to be? How do you make the right choices of what you want? You know, do you want the second beer? Do you want a third one? What do you see? You know what you want to escape from, you don't know what you want. So there's an escape dependency factor that comes on into the emotions, into the visions, into the dreams of what one wants, what one likes. I like this. Oh, so you're not going to just like things. You're going to love them. Oh, this is incredible. Or this is pathetic. Or this is, so it has a soulfulness to it, which could create a great deep sense of compassion when one's not attached to the thing, to getting things in life. So if you're living spiritually, this is an aid because it lets you detach from having to have the best dress or the best pair of suits or the best clothes or having to have lots of money, I have to buy these things. It's not, it could be, if I don't need anything, I can live without anything. I can just wander and whatever, and I'll go with whatever happens. No expectations. Then if you don't want anything, what is it? Lord's Prayer, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Each goes through the signs that is like, Lord is my shepherd, is the Mars and Aries. I shall not want is the Venus and Taurus, who wants everything and knows whatever's best. But if you learn to give away what's best, you don't want something in your life, you can live a saint-like existence. And Neptune can be that extra vision that comes in. It can be there for a musician, it can be there for an artist, it can be there for someone dedicated to other people, but often the dedication is a pure sacrifice, and it tends to be one-sided. And there's, in life, you're trying to, a friend of mine, his little daughter was born with no feet, one hand missing and part of one hand, and just the heel on one foot. And this little girl, even when she was 2 years old, she wanted to be a dancer. She had the dream. And she actually went to a school where she learned to dance, and I saw her doing a performance at 18. It was quite incredible. She didn't stand out from the other people who were using muscles and bones who weren't handicapped. She was able to use her artificial legs and it didn't appear the same. She was able to be that, but as she got older, she became a bigger woman and changed from the physical art to writing and to theater. But when she was born and growing up, her dad, he was always accused of this, but he never did things extra to make it easier for her. If she wanted something from the kitchen, she had to crawl to the kitchen and get it. Like we get up, we put our shoes on. She get up, she put her feet on. Like she'd have her, but sometimes she wouldn't want to wear that, and she would call around. If she, as a teenager, if she wanted to go to the bus or something, yes, well, I'll walk. The same as anyone else, she can go and do it. And he was harder on her in that way. He didn't feed the dependency, but it created a more self-reliant person. She still had her aloneness about boyfriends or not boyfriends. She still had a soul searching for appreciation. And it went to another level. But the mother did it. The other mother would always try and take her anywhere and felt guilty for doing it. It was always taking her anywhere. Wherever Neptune's there, something's complicated. Something's not as it seems. There's some potential, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, there's some potential abuse if it's hitting the personal planets. You can't put your finger on it right away. As you begin to sense it. So Neptune, you sense it the last. Oh, there's something going on here. Oh, there's this, because all the other things are there, but there's still something missing, some puzzle there. And when you get to have to work with this, you're trying to get rid of the confusions and the guilts and just get simple things. Like a person can be afraid of, I wouldn't be afraid of singing, but just might be, avoid trying to be talented. Might want to be with the artist rather than being the artist themselves, when really they're supposed to be the fine artists themselves. Or someone might be pushing the commercial art and they're really supposed to be the fine artist, but they have a value of money and getting what they gotta get. Why would they do something more idealistic when it might be really part of their metabolism? So you can't be sure with that. It's confusing the values, confusing the choices, tempting them, confusing them. When you have too many choices, it's always difficult. Or if you seemingly have no choices, everything gets pathetic. This is emotional, it's not rational. If you made love to someone and they got satisfied and you didn't, it's impossible to hide that in the next day. It's going to show in your emotional attitude. If that happens on and on regularly, you're in a bad relationship, one-sided or confusing, or with an alcoholic or something, oh, that's hard. If you're growing up and you figure you're not being treated fairly with the other kids, whoa. Like, wow. Sometimes this can come up in someone just simply as meeting someone and falling in love with someone that's out of culture or out of race or out of religion. And they're caught in between the two cultures or the two religions of both sides of the family, and they're there. They're not really being encouraged by either side, but they're in love. Hard to make it. Many movies made on this story, many books, many great stories about Venus, Neptune. But when someone has it, they're searching for beauty, and often something's missing, or often they're trying to hope for it for someone that doesn't deserve it. They're trying to be there. They want to be there too much. They want to be appreciated. They can over-dedicate. And that can make them the sucker, or them get dependent on things. So it becomes very important if someone has to be honest about what you like and what you don't like. Honesty clears up a lot of the Neptune expectations, but then honesty is really more Pluto's domain than Neptune's. Neptune is more about fantasy and imagination and romance and adventure and possibilities. Oh, so many people want somebody that's totally different what their parents want for them. It's almost normal. they'll disassociate. They'll be in a countercultural world. It's normal for them. All of these things can be worked on by constantly building up to Venus to make one self-sufficient or self-dependent in their own art form or their own thing rather than just in someone else's. Or around just making their own money and not depending on other people or just liking themselves. Venus itself is puzzling, roaming. There are thousands of choices a day. And in those thousands of choices, we can be trying to do it for some sense of romance and adventure or appeal. And it may or may not be great. There's this great painting, I should find it. It's more of a Pluto one, but there's a picture of a woman in front of her vanity, in front of the mirror, and she's putting her makeup on. She's got all the bottles and things beside her. She's putting her makeup on, looking in this mirror. But if you back up from the picture, it looks like the mirror and the person looks like a skull and crossbones. How dangerous is vanity? I mean, if you get in debt or you feel you owe people or you promise, I mean, it gets very, Neptune Venus gets very confusing. So I know I'm not talking about the solutions specifically here. The solutions are the planets and the signs and in the houses. If anything, you ignore the aspect. As an astrologer, you see the aspect and realize, I wonder what distracted that person. I wonder what dependencies are. I wonder how that Neptune influence is working. And you have to observe it between lines. And usually by the time you've gone through each of the planets, and you see how they're working, and if they're not, it'll be because something's there because of Neptune. So basically the things that happen to you the things you have in the natal chart are essentially the stamp of the things you attract to happen or you'll act out at some times in your life. So then they become extremes at certain times. But the potential is there. If it's not there, it can happen, but it's not going to affect you as deeply. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't think you're lovable, you think there's something wrong around love, boy, that's a complicated issue. Actually, usually I would get people to be dedicated to a cause or helping people in some way or being a teacher or helping some kids some way to, even if that's once a month, they're helping themselves in rebuilding their self-reliance and their sense of self-worth. And simple things can do it. So someone that would be an art therapist could easily have that. But most often it can be an alcoholic. Really, I like something, get addicted to it, and you have too much of it, and it starts to affect the other choices you make in your life. Hard to be sincere when there's so many options. Okay. Again, I feel I just touched the surface, and there's so many other ways I could have gone at this, but it come out like this, and I can't spend more time on it at this point, but you get a general sense of Neptune to Venus. As Venus changes the levels it's working on, it's all on Neptune.